or I'm sorry, Terry Roach. Sorry.
Thank you. My name is Terry Roach. I know it's not all about me, but I'm going to share with you that tonight's a special anniversary for me. A bit of embarrassment and a little bit of pride. I feel like I've come full circle. 5 years ago this evening, my partner in crime and I were breaking into cars in a movie theater parking lot. We were seniors in high school when a Fort Worth police officer noticed what was up. Good police work brought an end to our crime wave of radar detector thefts as the officer escorted us to jail. Best thing that could have happened to me at the time. That arrest was, in a sense, a passport to a better life, putting me on the path to being an honest, responsible, productive, and law-abiding member of society. It's that role that brings me here tonight to speak on behalf of some individuals here tonight who have been arrested recently, but unlike the 17-year-old me, I was a minor menace to society. I got what I deserved. These so-called cop watchers, auditors, or whatever term you prefer, the arrest of them is shameful. Let me state clearly, I am grateful and give my support to the vast majority of first responders and police who are there to serve and protect. They make sacrifices, face grave dangers. My grandfather was a police officer. And the cop watchers, they can be profane, provocateurs. Most people would not agree with their choices or their comportment. But they've proven beyond any doubt that there is a cancerous element, and not only within the rank and file, but among the higher-ups who turned a blind eye to the bad apples, or worse, who actively cover up the crimes of the people who are sworn to uphold the law. Arresting someone for filming, for openly criticizing the police, for profanity, for the way they look or their attitude. That's what's happening. Any reasonable, unbiased person can see the retaliation, the targeting, and the abuse of power. Throwing someone in jail just because you can, knowing the tremendous impact that'll have on them, depriving them of their rights. Most of us wouldn't do what they do again. But most of us wouldn't stand up to injustice and be arrested 29 times, as Martin Luther King was. Whatsoever you do to the least of our brothers. Father Niemöller, he said, I hope I pronounced his name right, World War II, German, he said, I didn't care when they came for the communists, but I sure wish I would have. I have to admit that I didn't care, I didn't even know about them till I experienced abuse of power and misconduct by police. And I've been trying for 2 years to get body camera video. We should all be able to have body camera video. These provocateurs, they're the ones telling the truth. It's not easy to hear. And a lot of our major media, they're quiet. We'd like to thank Edward Brown, the Fort Worth Weekly, for giving voice, for speaking up. They demonstrate clearly the need for civilian oversight, strong, vigorous, independent. And no one's going to benefit from that civilian oversight than the good police officers, the vast majority again. I'm arguing on their behalf to ask you, make that civilian oversight real.
Thank you. Next.
Buenos días. ¿Cómo estamos? ¿Estamos bien? Disculpa. Oh, am I speaking Spanish? Oh, I thought I was in a third world country for a minute. Gosh, I guess we're not in a third world country. We're in Fort Worth, but it sure feels like we're in a third world country. That's because we only have 2 times a month to talk to you guys. What's up with that? 2 times a month to air our problems that we have with y'all. And then another reason why I'm feeling like I'm in a third world country is because we have these thugs running around in police uniforms. They've put up all kinds of roadblocks for transparency. They took away the police scanners so we don't know what's going on throughout the city. They won't release body cams. We've had that problem. This is not the only family that this has happened to. This is not an isolated case right here. This happens all the time. All the time. They're thugs, and they act like it. The other roadblocks they put up is they won't give us any kind of police records, anything like that. So we took to filming them, right? So when we're out to film them, they've set up all kinds of roadblocks for us not to see what's going on. On November 8th, the chief said that he knows that there's a culture problem, that he spoke to the city manager about this culture problem. And that was 2 years ago, but I haven't seen any change from 2 years ago. I've seen it getting worse, but I haven't seen any change. Has there been any meetings, any training for these officers on the street? Does any of them even know what community policing is? I FOIA requested any kind of formal meetings that they had concerning culture, maybe some diversity training. They don't give it. They don't give it. So for 2 years, he hasn't done anything as far as training goes for these guys out on the street. They change the rules every time we turn around when we're out filming them. They'll bring up, tell us that we're trespassing when we're not. They've trespassed us out of public buildings without even committing a crime. You ask, why am I being trespassed from this public building? Probably because you're trespassing. That makes no sense. They should only be able to trespass you if you are committing some sort of crime. But also, like I said, we took to filming them, and you would be appalled at how they treat the homeless people. Sometimes we're capturing them on video before they even know that we've walked up on them, and they treat those guys so horribly. They arrest 10 people a day for criminal trespass. They're not playing by the rules, because with trespassing, you're supposed to ask somebody to leave first. Then if they come back, that's when you trespass them. And the third time is probably when you arrest them, but they're just arresting them as they see them and calling it trespassing. So we need to do something about this non-transparency, how they treat people on the street, how they won't release body cams, how they won't give us any kind of transparency. And we want to see some evidence of training these thugs on the street, because they're thugs. I mean, either they don't come to the call that you've called on, or they all show up. And when they all show up, it looks like a bunch of kids at the Dairy Queen on a Saturday night, hanging out, fraternizing and all that. It's appalling. And it's almost embarrassing, because you really do feel like you're in a third world country. The rest that we've suffered.
Thank you, Speaker. Next speaker is Robert Harvey.
Hello, how y'all doing? I want to speak about the police department's abuse and unlawful arrests of me and Carolyn Rodriguez and Manuel Mata for recording the police in public. Now, recently, Carolina recorded a Fort Worth cop, badge number 4042, saying that they've had training on how to handle us, free press. And then he goes on to tell her where she's allowed to stand in public. And then he says he can arrest her for talking, which are both unlawful statements. Texas Penal Code 38.15, interference with public duty, Section D clearly says speech cannot be deemed interference. Also, Supreme Court ruling, City of Houston versus Hill, the court ruled that a city ordinance made that abusive speech toward police officer is a crime was unconstitutional and a violation of the First Amendment. That means I can say whatever I want to these police officers unless I'm threatening them. It's a First Amendment protected activity. Now let's talk about House Bill 2319 that Arizona recently passed that said you have to be at least 8 feet away when recording police. 8 foot, think about it. That's this far away, as tall as I am. How's that relevant to Texas? A federal judge struck down this law as unconstitutional as a First Amendment violation. And Fort Worth cops think they can tell us where to stand while we're recording in public and arrest her for standing 20 feet away on a public sidewalk. I was arrested for standing 20 feet away from a cop sitting in his cop car. How am I interfering with a cop sitting in his cop car recording him? He jumped out of his car and grabbed me and arrested me. We've all seen the videos of Manuel Mata getting arrested on public sidewalks, being 50, 60, 100 feet away. Remember, a federal judge recently struck down Arizona House Bill 2319 that says you have to stand at least 8 foot away. Fort Worth cops are arresting us for standing 20, 40, 60, 100 feet away. I was arrested for felony stalking for recording a police officer on a public sidewalk while she was wearing her badge and uniform, a felony. This case is absolutely ridiculous. The lawyers don't even understand how and why Judge Wolf could sign a probable cause warrant. Taylor Stevens' report is comical. Her proof for such an accusation is I asked her what the tattoo on her arm was while recording her. She put in her report the comments from the YouTube video she does not like. She also states in her report that my subscribers love her videos. This is the garbage that got me arrested for a felony in Fort Worth? Are we living in China or North Korea? Has all the politicians and police
Thank you,
department in
Speaker.
Fort Worth sold out?
The next speaker is Caroline Rodriguez.
Uphold your oaths. Free Manuel Mata.